Good morning, everyone. Acting Governor Oliver, Colonel Callahan, Commandant Buck, proud families and friends, distinguished guests, and most importantly, the 158th State Police Academy class. It is truly an honor and a privilege for me to be here this morning. Members of the 158th class, as you were beginning your journey here in Seagirt in January, I was starting my journey as Attorney General in Trenton. And while I had known about the excellence and the professionalism of the New Jersey State Police from my time as a federal prosecutor and as a county prosecutor, I had never really experienced it firsthand the way I experience it now. And it didn't take me long to see firsthand why this agency is the preeminent law enforcement agency, not just in this state, but beyond. I saw it on February 3rd, a few weeks after I started. That day in Piscataway, New Jersey, a grandmother was watching her 2-week-old granddaughter. It was a Saturday afternoon, and suddenly that 2-week-old granddaughter started to choke, and she couldn't breathe. The grandmother couldn't clear her airway, and she panicked. Her granddaughter was beginning to turn blue. Not knowing what to do, she ran outside, and when she did, she saw a New Jersey State Police troop car parked at a neighbor's home, and she ran to that home. She didn't know that it was the home of Trooper Robert Meyer. She didn't know that Trooper Meyer was off duty and was finally getting some well-deserved rest after working all night. All she knew was that there could be a New Jersey State Trooper in that home. And she knew that that trooper could help save her granddaughter's life. And because Robert Meyer is a New Jersey State Trooper, we all know how this story ends. Trooper Meyer, now awake, rushed to his neighbor's home without even taking the time to put on his shoes. And let me remind everyone, on February 3rd of this year, it was 28 degrees outside. Once inside his neighbor's home, Trooper Meyer cleared that obstruction in that 2-week-old granddaughter's airway. Folks, he saved her life. There's a reason why people like that panicked grandmother run to the New Jersey State Police for assistance. It's because of the actions of countless New Jersey State Troopers who came before each of you in this class. It's because, as someone relayed to me when I was a very young prosecutor, each of us in law enforcement are the recipients of a powerful gift, a truly wonderful gift. And it is a gift that we may not realize we've received until the first time you tell a complete stranger what you do, and they immediately begin to trust you and credit what you say next. It's a gift that we may not realize that we've received until the first time we argue or we testify in court, and the judge, the jury, instinctively almost believe what you say next. And it's that gift that brought that grandmother to the home of a complete stranger to seek help simply because she saw a troop car parked out front. That gift is what allows law enforcement, which now includes each of you in this class, to accomplish all the good that you will accomplish during your careers. And that gift has been called a, quote, reservoir of trust and credibility. It is a reservoir built and filled by the thousands of good deeds and positive actions of all the troopers, not just troopers, but of all the law enforcement officers and professionals that came before each of you. Complete strangers that you'll never know, or whose names you'll only hear as stories are passed down through generations of troopers. But the foundation of that reservoir, in the case of the state police, was set by your first superintendent, Norman Schwarzkopf, who included in his General Order Number 1 that Colonel Callahan referenced, a powerful reminder to the very first troopers a reminder of their obligation to go above and beyond policing. To quote, as the Colonel did, to cultivate the good opinion of the people, to exhibit what Colonel Schwarzkopf called a, quote, steady and impartial line of conduct, and to demonstrate, quote, a respectful bearing to all classes. It is a reservoir that has been filled and protected by the ethical leadership of Colonel Callahan. It is a reservoir that has been filled by the sacrifices of all those who have given their lives in service to protect the public. All those fallen troopers whose names we read at that ceremony that we attended together a few weeks ago. Troopers like Lieutenant William Fearon, who died of the cancer brought on from working in the debris that covered Ground Zero in the aftermaths of the attacks of September 11th. He ran to that danger. It is a reservoir that's been added to by the good deeds of Trooper Meyer, who did so much on that day on February 3rd to help save a 2-week-old girl's life. That is the gift that each of you receive as you enter this most noble profession today. And as the recipients of this reservoir of this gift, I implore each of you to add to it, to guard it, and to pass it on to the next generation of troopers fuller than you received it. Not quite 3 weeks after I started this job, I had the opportunity to speak to Trooper Meyer, to thank him for what he had done on February 3rd. And to this day, it's still one of my most cherished experiences since becoming Attorney General. And I was grateful to be able to do something that not enough people do these days when it comes to law enforcement. To simply say thank you. Thank you not just for what you did that day, thank you for what you do each and every day. And to the 158th class, I look forward to calling each of you to say thank you the same way I thank Trooper Meyer, to thank you in the future for all the good deeds that each of you will do. Because I know that each of you will do so much. You will do so much to earn those calls because law enforcement in this state and around the country is already doing so much. I know this because I've seen it. As Attorney General, I know also that we are asking each of you to do so much more with so much less today. We are asking each of you now to be part mental health counselor, part substance abuse counselor, part marriage counselor, a big brother, a big sister, a mentor, and in some cases, even a community relations expert in the midst of a crisis. And as if all of that weren't enough, you will do all of these things in a climate where unfortunately you are 3 times more likely to get injured at work than in any other profession. In a climate where you will never truly know where your next threat will come from. And unfortunately, in a climate where your every move will be criticized on social media, and where your every move will be recorded by a body camera, a dash camera, a cell phone video, and where every inaction or action you take will be put under a microscope, where sometimes out of context cell phone videos capturing only a portion of a police encounter will then be used to improperly define and malign an entire profession. This is the new and incredibly complex and demanding environment in which law enforcement officers in this state and across this country are now called upon to execute their mission. This is the environment in which you now embark upon your law enforcement careers. But you have an added challenge, a challenge that the Colonel alluded to in his remarks. You will be called upon not simply to fulfill the duties of any ordinary law enforcement officer. As New Jersey State Troopers, you will be the most visible symbols of law enforcement in this state. And as those visible symbols, you will be called upon to promote the profession and to humanize the badge, as the Colonel so eloquently states, to be a leader on the road, in your neighborhood, and in the community at large. So that microscope that I just talked about, that scrutiny that Commandant Buck talked about, the burden of being a symbol for an entire profession in this state and beyond, embrace it. Embrace it all. Embrace it all as an opportunity to show the public what we all know in this room, that the law enforcement profession, that Jersey troopers rise above criticism. They rise above and they welcome and they meet and they exceed any challenge put in front of them. Embrace it like Sergeant First Class James Mitchell did when he saved the lives of a couple whose car had just been engulfed in flames. Embrace it like Detective Sergeant Carlos Rodriguez did when he was deployed to Puerto Rico and saved the life of a man whose car had gone off the road. Embrace it like Sergeant Karen Fahey and Trooper Christopher Herman did when they performed CPR on a man on the side of a road after he was injured in a crash. It is these everyday interactions with the public, these tiny, decent things, the ones that are sometimes not recorded, that are not broadcast, and that may never get the attention that they deserve, that make each of you the ambassadors of your profession. It's these interactions that help carry forward the work of all those troopers who came before you. It is what helps fill that reservoir that I talked about. And just like when I was implored as a young federal prosecutor to cherish that reservoir and to never compromise it, I impart the same to each of you. Because although this reservoir of trust took years and years to fill, it is said that it can be drained in an instant. Now, this isn't to say that you have to be or that you will be perfect. Mistakes will be made, but acknowledge them, learn from them, and importantly, correct them. And know that you will have no bigger supporters than myself and Colonel Callahan when you do your jobs correctly, no matter the scrutiny. I'm reminded at this time about something Winston Churchill once said. He said that success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So I implore each of you in the 158th class to be courageous in everything that you do. I implore you all to take pride each day that you wear this uniform. Take pride in the rigorous training that you have just completed. Take pride in the physical, mental, and emotional challenges that you have overcome. And take pride that you are joining an organization with such a rich history and such a rich tradition. And know that each day the public counts on you to come to their aid, to dash out shoeless on a cold winter day to save a life. And know that each day as Jersey troopers you make us proud. You make the profession proud. And you make your families who are celebrating here with you today proud. So to the members of the 158th Police Academy class, your families, your friends, congratulations to you all. Good luck, and please be safe. Thank you.